Just hours to go for the presentation of Union Budget 2026, and we've all got expectations. I'm sure that you've got expectations and you've got questions. So this special live on YouTube, on social media, is for you to ask questions of Neeraj and Tamanna. Maybe I can field a few.
Of course. But yeah, you want to start?
No, I just wanted to say before our questions come in that you would think that we're all very, very stressed before the budget. Usually news channels and, business news channels are all prepping and what's going to happen. But I think I'm quite excited. And this is a team that has now done this so many times. And
how many times though? Let me ask that.
How many budgets?
How many budgets?
Okay, so you have to count an extra one every 5 years for elections.
So two, so yeah.
Yeah,
correct.
so nearly 30 for me.
30 budgets. Neeraj?
Yeah, give or take 25, 30, must be. Yeah.
Okay, so for
2000, yeah, 2000. Yeah, 25, 30, whatever.
25, 30. So for me, it's 16 I counted.
Crazy.
2 interim budgets and all budgets since 2012. You've seen quite a few finance ministers.
I've seen quite a few finance ministers, and they all have their typical style. So Pranab Mukherjee used to take his time and go through it. Chidambaram was good to listen to because in a very clipped manner. It is Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman's 9th budget, and her budgets are very no-nonsense. Yeah. I like her budgets because you get what you see what you get. There's no hidden, time bomb ticking when suddenly someone looks at the fine print and they're like, oops, there's this big tax which came in. So those are good as well. So quite a few.
I used to like Arun Jaitley's budgets too.
I did it.
And in between, we had one by Piyush Goyal.
So I was going to say, it's 9 budgets for Nirmala Sitharaman because of that one budget that Piyush Goyal had. Otherwise it would have been 10.
No, Arun Jaitley's budgets were also superb. Arun Jaitley's budgets, because he was a lawyer and great at speaking, super public speaker. So those were great to listen to. So yeah.
So, wasn't it an Arun Jaitley budget in which capital gains tax came back?
No, I think it came in during Nirmala Sitharaman budget, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. It was one of the last few budgets, and I think you've touched a raw nerve because I don't know what I can see your hand is feeling down. So I'll hold it for you. But I think you've touched a raw nerve because everyone you talk to is saying long-term capital gains tax aana chahiye. But the reason that they think it's going to come is because they think we need it. Jana chahiye, because they think कम आना चाहिए, जाएगा तो नहीं, but at least कम आना चाहिए. But I think the reason that people think it should happen is because they need it. They feel the need of the hour. There is no other, reason to expect that it happens. FPIs have been exiting, but so what? Doesn't mean the government reacts like that.
It's a good one, right, Tamanna? And your point is right, because I remember yesterday or day before on India Market Open, Tamanna made this point, right? And it's true that this government kind of has elicited a policy and then stuck to it across various things, including fiscal consolidation. So very unlikely in a normal parlance that they might go ahead and tinker with the tax rate, wherein they have shown that they want to take taxes higher over a period of time. Is this a special case in that because FIs are dumping markets? Yesterday, Indonesian markets performance was a case in point, wherein FIs went out of Indonesia and the market cracked 7-8%.
Yes.
And if you have to spend so much of capital defending the rupee in lieu of foregoing maybe 30, 40, 50,000 crores of tax, would the government do that? I think that's a question.
India is no Indonesia.
India is no Indonesia.
No, agree. Completely fine. But my point being, because the last 12 months, we've seen that if we thought that FIs are not important, that's not the case.
Guys, there is one question, and I must point out to everybody watching on this live stream, just send us your message on the comment section and we will take those questions up. There's an interesting one coming in from a bit of a tongue twister. Crick Crazy Crux is the name of the handle.
By the way, Crick Crazy Crux is a very regular digital viewer of our platform.
And that's amazing. And thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Crick.
Crick Crazy Crux. You have to say the whole thing. But having said that, the question is an interesting one. And I think that this is going to be front and center for a lot of people beyond this question of STT, LTCG, which is there room to move into fiscal capex theme? So, is there room on the fiscal side to spend on capex?
I'm just going to start with what I've been reading, and there's a bit of a mixed view with brokerages as well. Many of them think that we will stick to the 4.2, 4.4. Some say, okay, a little bit of an expansion, and they don't really have too much to bother because the RBI will come in and help. That's expected. My sense is, CCC, if you're asking, that they are not going to move past that red line. We've had a sovereign upgrade this year. That's a hard-fought one. I don't think India will slide back.
There's no way you can disagree with this argument, right? So very likely that's what will happen. The only respite or the only space where there is some place to maneuver or two pockets. One is that the RBI support that comes in. Two, if you now start focusing on the debt to GDP ratio with a target for FY31, and if that comes in, then maybe there is some space that you might say that, listen, the GDP has grown to a particular level, and therefore even if we are at 4.3 and not 4.2, the debt to GDP is great, we are moving towards a particular target, and therefore we have some space to maneuver. But this argument is irrefutable.
Especially in a scenario, guys, where they've had a couple of measures, one, the income tax cuts last year, and GST, both which have had an impact on the revenue collections. So therefore, on the revenue side as well, there's limited room. But the question I want to ask is there a lever in the way of divestment that can be utilized, particularly because we keep speaking to commentators, Parag Bhai every day in the morning screams saying that metal prices and metal stocks have gone up to such an extent that now is a golden opportunity to sell a little bit.
So I would love to hear what the two of you also have to say, but my only grouse with the current establishment is that somehow they have not gotten the timing of the divestment right. Right? And the pedal has been pushed back in the last 2 years for sure on divestment. Maybe the idea is to actually nurture these companies and grow. But if divestment is a policy, there are a lot of companies in which the divestment time was correct at a point of time were not divested. So much talk about BPCL 2 years ago, didn't happen. ITBI, so much has not quite fructified as yet. And there have been other such instances as well. So I don't know if they will, should they? Yes, because that's one way to get revenues for capex. And there are a lot of entities, right? 50 lakh crores worth of entities on which divestment can happen. You get in 1 lakh crore, 2 lakh crores, stuff like that. But I don't know if they will do it. I don't know how the two of you think.
Okay, so my thought is that this government, and going back to the same point, you have to just listen to what they say, because they say what they mean and they're not really changing it. As far as public sector companies are concerned, this government from year one is clear that we're not going to sell the family silver. We are going to strengthen these balance sheets, which they have continued to do. Now the question is, can you reduce your stakes? That's going to be the extent of divestment. Exactly. Now, a very important story that Shrimi Chaudhary, our Delhi Bureau Chief, just broke was about the possibility of a banking bill being announced in this budget. Obviously, it'll have to go through the parliamentary functions, which will make things clearer for how public sector banks are run. Another hope and possibility, maybe, is that there will be some consideration on lifting or increasing the amount of FDI that can come in. So those things could happen. On divestment, I would just say, I think they will maybe pencil in what they're going to get for IDBI. That will give you a clear picture.
Interesting.
At the very least. At the very least. So you might see a number, or watch out for that disinvestment number or that revenue
that's going to be critical.
What do you think?
I think that they absolutely have to do this, especially in a scenario, and we've been speaking about LTCG, STT, but specifically on STT, remember the target for FY26 is 70,000 crore. There is no way that they're going to get that much. And even if they get 30,000 crore, which might be stretching things, or even half of that, 35,000 crore, 35,000 crore of a hole that they need to fill in a scenario where a couple of other measures have been taken over the course of the year that has reduced revenue. So they need to fill that gap more than anything else. By the way, a lot of questions and comments coming in. One has an interesting one. Prisha Shah, giving everyone's age away with budgets covered. That's a good one. I know that you've been counting. But having said that, there are a few others that are also hitting the nail on the head, I think, with the questions that they're asking. Jay Panda is asking a very important question from the perspective of defense. And we saw the defense pack just day before yesterday go up by 7%. Or was it yesterday? Day before yesterday. Day before yesterday. You saw a little bit of profit taking yesterday. But the question he's asking is, how much increase will be seen in the defense budget this year? It's an important question to ask.
So the percentage is notwithstanding, we've got warm borders and therefore no surprise if this happens. But the thing to keep in mind is that while the last budget did not allocate a lot to defense spend, there were 4 incremental outlays for defense following the budget, starting Operation Sindoor, right? So therefore, in some sense, there is a fair degree of outlay that has happened. They may do a little bit on that, but it need not necessarily be just a part of the budget. I think the government has shown that they can do it beyond budget as well.
No, but then that's what I think there will be a big bump up. And simply because what we're talking about, these outlays, the whole system of defense allocation takes years.
Yeah.
So a defense acquisition council, what the news which you see on the stocks run, is a defense acquisition council coming and saying, okay, we've sanctioned. Between that sanction and those arms, armaments, jets, whatever, actually getting this is going to be another several years.
Yeah.
So that pipeline is very long. They're spending money which is already budgeted. I mean, Jeffries is saying...
This time around they went above, right? Because I think, just in case I'm wrong, this time around, the budgetary allocation for defense spend was X, and I think the subsequent post-Operation Sindoor outlays done exceeded that, which is what we might see in the revised estimate.
You may see that, but my sense is that you are still going to increase both spend on defense as a percentage of GDP, and I mean, some have an estimate of a 25% increase in that actual budget spend.
Yeah.
I was speaking to a market insider, if you say, and the 2 themes that they spoke about, one is definitely defense. You are in a country where you cannot trust anybody else. Not one screw of anything you make can be outsourced. You can forget about the tech. So not just defense, but the supply chain to defense. Those are the companies you need to start looking at. Who's giving the tech? Who's making the little parts of it? Who's giving that support system? And the other one is indigenization. Even to run that machinery, who has the mines? Who has the minerals? The copper, the aluminum, all of that. Those are the things.
In a world that is moving towards more advanced ways of warfare, we're talking about drone technology, etc. So even in R&D and all of that, there's likely going to be a lot of spending.
You have to make everything. This world has gone inwards.
Yeah.
There's no more, let's all trade with each other.
What I would just love to see is on the revised number, what is the percentage increase this time around?
That will answer your question on whether we overshot our budget with operations.
Be lovely to see. And just a very small other piece might be that some of the budget spends may not necessarily be only to safeguard the borders, but to make business opportunity of the recent FTAs that we've signed, right, guys? Because if the India-EU FTA throws up defense opportunities, maybe the government wants to create the ecosystem for doing that piece of work as well.
So PLIs, more PLIs in that space.
Maybe.
There are a couple more interesting questions. One should be relatively easy to answer, and a quick answer is possible here. RV Photography is asking, how long will the finance minister's speech be this year?
That is anyone's guess. We should run a poll. Last year was shorter than expected. I recall, because we were listening to it and then we all ran, and it ended quite abruptly. So we all ran to then hit our lives. I think it might not be on the shorter side. And now why am I saying this? Because if you think about what budgets have become, they've become a statement of intent. GST, the biggest reform, is already done outside the budget. They do what they need to outside the budget. But this budget is also an answer to the people of the country of how are we protected as you have a major world power going ballistic, for the lack of a better word. One day you do something to Venezuela, one day you do something to Iran. Not that anything can happen to India, but what is that messaging is going to be very key. So I think you may have an extra few paragraphs there.
Sure, but I would think generally about an hour and a half is what you budget for on budget day.
Yeah, we budget for an hour and a half.
Yeah, so
to
that's your
speak.
answer.
Not worth taking bets on that.
Yeah, but can I do a quick plug in here?
Sure.
Our screen is the one to watch.
Yeah.
Log on to our live stream, watch NDTV Profit, and not just because we all work here, so that's why we're saying it. But the way we've designed it is in a way where even if you've missed some part of it, doesn't matter. You will still get all the information you need very quickly. We have an excellent think tank which will give you their analysis. You will see that on screen as well. So sorry for this little watch, like, subscribe plug-in, but yeah, it's going to be worth your time.
Dare I say that the last 2 or 3 budgets that we've done on digital, we've been the highest watched platform per se. So I think in some sense, our viewers do like tuning in. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I think a lot of them will be on this live as well. So thank you for that, and we'll see you on Sunday. This is an interesting question, and we've had quite a few of these questions asked to our guests over the course of the last few weeks as well. Krishna Raj is asking 3 sectors that might get the most push this year.
So, well, Tamanna, and you answered the first one, which is defense.
Yeah.
I would suspect that some bit of focus on mining and minerals because of this
Rare
earth and beyond policy, right? Maybe even gold, who knows, right? I mean, because frankly, look at what's happening to those commodities. So some bit of focus out there. And my personal gut is that after spending 12 months over giving the boost to consumption, this budget moves back to prioritizing capex because industry would need that, and with all the FTAs being signed, etc., you want industry to be ready to be able to take advantage of the opportunities that come in. So done so much for consumption. I'm not saying therefore it's the end of the road, but I do believe that this time around we might see a shift back towards the budget sounding like it is prioritizing capex over consumption. My belief.
I think that there's going to be some support in some form or fashion for the small businesses, especially those that face the external side. So MSMEs, there already is a credit guarantee scheme, which incidentally, when I went to Coimbatore, there was a food chain, and everybody knows about Arya Bhavan, people who are in Mumbai, but that's actually a spin-off from the original Arya Bhavan. They said that they have utilized the entire 10 crore amount and set up more divisions in 1 year than they would normally have done in 4. And the revenue generation is quite substantial. So people have utilized the credit guarantee scheme.
Sorry for sounding like a nutcase, but you're talking about the Arya Bhavan
In
South
Matunga.
Indian chain in Matunga.
Yeah, but that's a spin-off. The original,
Coimbatore.
yeah, the original
I
is.
didn't know this, did you?
I think all of Matunga is a spin-off from...
Well, it's a great outcome.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Kill me.
But
Read it in the budget report,
उसके बाद
right, but I'm saying that small businesses have used the dispensation, but there might be a need to do a little more, especially for those entities that are focused outward.
Interesting.
So since you guys have talked about defense, I'll skip defense. I think, so defense is a no-brainer. I think watch out for any kind of encouragement for AI, data centers, and employment generation kind of industries as well. So tourism, we overlook the kind of incentives that come in for tourism. They come in every year. They might do that even further because a lot of the world is not becoming safe to travel to. You want to pull in people there. Data centers you will be. And I know nothing much happens for pharmaceuticals. But the way pharmaceutical industry is placed right now, and you have to become Atmanirbhar on everything, you might have some kind of a push for APIs, etc. Broadly, I would say Atmanirbharta is going to be a theme. Select your stocks which fall in an Atmanirbhar bucket, because so far it might have been a great statement to make politically. Right now, it's the need of the hour.
Actually, can I just add one more thing to this? A very important point Tamila made. MedTech.
MedTech.
Medical MedTech devices. The quantum of net imports has moved up from 55,000 crores to 85,000 crores.
Right.
You tackle some bit of that, even if you can't really make a very high export-oriented thumb, if you reduce the net imports as well, it's precious foreign exchange saved and used domestically.
I think
So
last
very
year, if I
important.
remember correctly, there was something that was done on the custom side also for MedTech devices.
Yes, so knee replacement stuff and hip surgery stuff and some little bit of stuff always comes every year. But his point is that where you can cut imports, let's start doing that, because otherwise you're going out of whack. And I don't know, crude back above 70 this morning. So you're going to have to tighten there as well.
And watch out for the exchequer. We've got more questions. One is an interesting one, more from a thematic standpoint, and this is from Masterclass Clips. Beyond allocations, does the tone of this budget suggest continuity or a shift in India's economic priorities?
Economic priorities, India's economic priorities. I mean, okay.
Has always been development oriented. You want to...
Okay, maybe I don't know. I don't have a ready answer, but I'm just thinking it's a new world of sorts under the current U.S. regime. Maybe tinkering with the capital gains tax is a new economic, not a priority, but a recognition of signal of sorts, if you will. So maybe that. I don't know, but do you guys have thought? I don't have a ready answer to this.
No, so all I would say is that, so this government, if you look at any of their budget speeches or anything they do, their horizon is always the next 6 years, or 4 years, or 5 years. It's rarely something which is, okay, it is for this next 11 months or 12 months. So in that sense, the messaging of continuity will definitely be there, but there'll be continuity plus. The fact is you need to propel growth right now. And what we did with consumption is not enough. We are seeing that in quarterly numbers. We are seeing that in economic data. You are going to have some slide in growth. This is going to have to be a growth pushing budget. It could be in the form of capex. It could be in the form of incentive schemes.
But
you're going to have that growth message.
Can I ask you guys what you think? Obviously, all of these measures have been geared towards consumption. But just on that point, Tamanna, I think that it's going to take a little time for this to gather momentum, and there will be a lag. So I feel that in the first quarter of next year, for 27, you will see a marked improvement in all of these lead indicators. Do you think that?
No, but all of your data is suggesting that you will first slow down a little bit, and then your growth is going to slow down a little bit and then go on. Not taking away from India still the bright spot and what IMF is saying, etc. Look, the GST push has already happened, right? But if you look at this entire thing, everyone has budgeted for labor code reforms. You are going to have to push growth a little more despite people buying, more consumer durables, fine. But you're going to have to push growth a little more.
Okay.
I don't think the GST push is going to be enough for the kind of growth push that we need.
Yeah. I mean, no, just one point that the fiscal room is limited. So I don't know how much can be done. But if the income tax cut was out of the blue, if the GST cut was out of the blue, the government in the last 12 months has shown that it's thinking out of the box to push growth. The capex bet did not result in private capex coming through. The GST cut thus far and the income tax cuts thus far haven't resulted in big bang consumption.
No.
I think one more out of the box thinking measure could come in.
This might be one of them. Akhil is asking, can we expect any relief for home buyers in this year's budget? And we all know what the real estate sector as a whole means. If you boost consumption there, you're talking about concrete, you're talking about cement requirement, you're talking about steel. It would be broad-based.
So you mean maybe higher income tax deduction?
You see interest subvention or a higher...
Or allowing, for example, in the new tax regime, you do not have a 2 lakh rupee...
ATC, you don't have any ATC.
ATC is one thing, but there's section 24 that is available in the old... For the interest that you pay on a mortgage, you can actually reduce it from your taxable income in your old tax regime. That is not available for you in the new tax regime. Your HRA is not available in your new tax regime. So a lot was done in the new tax regime last year to make it more attractive, and directionally we seem to be moving towards doing away with of the old tax regime. But actually adding a benefit in the new tax regime would be fab.
No, but I think that is counterintuitive. Why would you make the new tax regime more like the old tax regime? The idea is that ये सब exemption निकालो, keep it clear and straight. But I think new tax regime will definitely be made more attractive. I think if they do something, they'll do it for affordable housing. Not for
that's an important
not for 2.5-3 crore wala flats.
That's an important point. Because you said this, and I just remembered this was a suggestion that was made again when I went out in the field, and this is in a tier 2 city, right? Which is that the definition of affordable housing needs to increase. It's been the same for too long. and affordable is no longer what it used to be. And so therefore, the incentives or the SOPs that you receive in that basket for affordable housing, both for developer as well as for buyer, needs to change. We've got time for a rapid fire, and I wonder how this is going to go. Guys, you were not prepared for this.
What are you starting with? Let the mic stay.
I'll start with you, Neeraj. Nifty on budget day, gain or decline?
Gain.
You?
Gain.
Gain. Okay.
Rapid means you ask him all the
Okay,
questions,
one.
but then I'll hear all of them.
Exactly.
Okay, so we'll stop.
Okay, let's stop. Your sector to watch for on budget day?
Defense.
Defense.
Okay, wow. Will it be a big bang budget or low key one?
Low key.
Big bang.
Big bang. Okay. If you had to make one wild prediction on any announcement, what would it be?
LTCG.
Yeah, actually, if it's meant to be wild, then there's nothing more wild than this.
Yeah, wild
Another
card.
current dispensation.
The wild
LTCG.
card that everyone's hoping for.
Okay, one reason why everyone should watch Profit on budget day.
We are just superb.
And there are at least 3 sitting right here.
On that note, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to all of you, and I'm sure that you've still got a lot of questions. I would encourage you to stay tuned to NDTV Profit, because you'll get a lot of answers even over the course of the next couple of days, and especially on budget day. Stay tuned.
That was cool. I quite liked it. As it should be. Yeah. Guys.